surprisingly, it actually works very well because
Mm.
I'm a, s- I have two bad habits. I have
Mhm.
more, but those two basic ones, right? I'm a skeptic and I'm a pedant. Okay? A
Mhm.
skeptic means that I don't believe it until I see it.
Mhm.
Right? When I see it, I believe it, but before that, whatever. Right?
Okay.
And I'm a pedant, which means everything has to be perfect.
Mhm.
All the words have to be in the right order. If it's not in the right order, it's not good. Yes,
Mhm.
sir. Right? So
Mhm.
I, I would be good in the army, maybe. Right? Um, except I can't follow orders, so that's another bad habit I have. I can't follow anything. Go. Someone says go this way, I go the opposite way, just
I
because.
can imagine. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You understand, right? Come back. No, I'm off. There
Mm.
we go. So yeah, and I thought that it would be stupid, but actually it's not. It's actually kind of fun because the more energy you put into something, the more you get out of it.
Mm.
And the gamification of everything is what makes everything interesting. The gamification means turning everything into a game.
Mm.
What is Facebook? It's a game. How many likes? How many shares? It's a game. It's a game. That's it. Business, numbers. What is it, a game? How many numbers did you get? How much for this? How much for that? It's a game. It's give and take. It's win and lose. It's a game. Obviously, you want win-win. That's a much better scenario for everybody. But it's still a game at the end of the day. And this transforms music into a game.
Mm.
And that's what makes it interesting, is because you compete and play against each other. And for me and my son yesterday, it was a lot of fun for me to try and play the drums and for him to try and play the guitar. And AC/DC is AC/DC, right? So everybody loves a little bit of rock music. So um, we did that, and it was fun. And that's another way that music integrates into people's lives and channels energy for them. And all this technology is old. All this technology is old now. It's new for me, but this technology was created in 2005, 2006. So this is
Yes.
technology. Yeah, yeah,
You mean X? Do you mean Xbox and
yeah,
PlayStation or yes?
yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean the first generation of Xbox, which is what
Mm-hmm.
I have. I don't have anything new, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first generation of because I wait until other people get bored of things and I buy it from them, right? Which people get bored very quickly in the modern world. They get very quickly, so you don't have to wait long for somebody to get bored of what it is that they buy because you read stuff on the internet like, oh, I bought it and I used it twice and I never used it again, and I'll buy that. So uh, so it's all old technology now, which is which is crazy because it's new for me. So I wonder what the new is
Mm.
like. The newest of the new technology must be. You can get. I saw you can get DJ systems as well that are for the Xbox, where you pretend to be a DJ and you have these two mixed turntables and you can do it all digitally. So
Mm-hmm.
there's so much that is there's so much in the world.
Mm. Uh,
There's not enough time. Here's how I look at buying things. The question is how much and how often will you use it?
Mm.
How much or how often will you use it? Now, if it is something that you will use every day, then it's an automatic purchase. It's automatic. If it's something that you will use every day, it's automatic because what you use every day, your daily habits, that's your life. Like if you need a car every day, it's automatic. Don't think twice about it. It's automatic. You need food every day. It's automatic, right?
Mhm.
Anything that you need every day, it's an automatic purchase. Just get it. Just get it because you need it every single day. If you don't need it every day, then you have to think, how often am I going to use it, right? Now, here's where a quad bike or the four-wheel bike becomes crazy. How often can you use it, and then do you use it? So you can only use it Saturday, Sunday, basically, right? Or maybe in a holidays, and you have to take it somewhere and you have to transport it somewhere and there's access to that place and then there's extra expenses on the bike, there's fuel, there's maintenance, there's extra work on it. Now, can you learn something from a more complicated situation? Yes, you can learn a lot. You can learn to fix a bike, you can learn to repair it. And I know somebody who started with bikes and then finished, with cars and,
Mhm.
building cars and making cars. So so that is possible. But you have to think about, is it going to be used on a daily basis? Is it going to feed in constructively to other things that are happening? Or is it going to compete against other things that are happening? Because you don't want something which doesn't integrate into everything which is already happening. Now, it's the same process in business, where if you are looking at a new stream for your business, you want that stream to integrate into what you are already doing. You don't want to do something entirely completely new because you
Mhm.
want to feed customers and clients from one area into this area and feed customers and clients from this area into this area. So you want it to integrate into what is already happening. So for me, if I take the Xbox example, that is, my children already like the Marvel universe and the Marvel characters, and I know that there's games connected with that there. My children like Lego, and I know that there's a lot of Lego games and Lego other things related to that. And I know that the digital area Minecraft is also on the Xbox, so there's possibilities to do that. Now, my family likes, well, we all like music, and we are crazy enough to pick up instruments and try and play and to experiment with things. We're a homeschool family, so we're do it, do it and try it and see what happens. Um, and so we all like music, and so we can all integrate and sort of play the music together. I want my son to have more contact with music. So he can maybe learn to play the drums by watching the songs and trying to play along with them, and he gets to pick and choose the songs, and it's interesting for him. So it can integrate and feed into what is happening. How often can you use it? I don't know. Maybe every second day you can use it for a period of time, maybe 1 hour. How does it work with other things like incentives? If I want my children to tidy up, if I want my children to clean and tidy and organize, I can say clean, tidy, and organize because that's the right thing to do. My children are like, like zombies, right? Oh, but Dad, why? I don't understand.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. Or I can say, if you get everything clean, if you get everything tidy, if you get everything organized and nice, put away the books and the toys, and take the cups to the kitchen, and do all those things, and then you can get an hour of the Xbox. Zoom.
No, this is the same way as I'm using for my children.
Yeah,
Mm.
and now there's parenting, right? Parenting, being a
Mm.
parent. There's this question with, should you use incentive or not use incentive, right? Should you, should there be motivation or no motivation?
Mm.
Should it be natural? Should the children feel inside it's a natural thing to do to help their parents, or
It would be nice, but
yes, that's my point. That's exactly my
but
point.
I don't believe that some. Okay, of course, there are some children they love when it is everything nice and pretty in their room.
Mhm.
But these are not my children.
Yeah, now I think everyone is different. So I think that's we can have different ways of doing things.
Mm.
And I also think it's okay to understand what I call the nature of reciprocation, which is what comes back to you.
Mm.
If you want something, you have to do something. If you want something, you have to do something.
Mm.
Look, intelligent people understand there's a positive side and a negative side to everything, right?
Mm.
And sometimes, and I use what I use because, not because it's the best, but because it's the fastest.
Mm.
Speed is important, but it isn't everything, right? Because
Mm.
there are other things that are important. Timing is important. Getting things at the right time and communicating in the right way.
Mm.
And and so it does make things faster. The negative side is that you never push yourself with your own communication skills. That's the negative side. Because the difficult thing to do is to sit down during a busy, complicated, hectic, fast, chaotic day, to sit down and breathe and communicate with the child in a normal way about the pros and the cons, the advantages and the disadvantages
Mm.
of doing this and not doing this, and then taking time yourself and giving the child time to think about it, which we don't have because tomorrow is here like this,
Mm.
and there's not a single person in the world whose life will be slower tomorrow than it is today. Doesn't exist. Things will only get faster.
Mm.
And I'm not saying faster is better. I'm just saying look at the world. The cars are faster, the planes are faster, the computers are
Mm.
faster. All those technological elements are faster, and the communications are faster, and it brings something extra, something else to our world. And so faster is not always better, and the difficult, probably better road is to take time to sit down, to talk about it, to negotiate, because a lot of parents have very bad negotiation skills because they use, myself included, because
Mm.
they use authority as the reason. Authority as the reason, not
Effort. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So we use authority as the reason, and we don't put the energy, the effort, the energy into working on negotiation skills, which then our children learn negotiation from our negotiation with them.
Mm.
And so the long-term return on investment is probably better to do things slower, but it's much more complicated to the point where it's
Mm.
almost not possible. And well, the argument is, and the argument always is that if it works, if it gets things done, then that is okay. That's always the argument. And it's not always true that it's okay
Mm.
because of what we call visible and invisible reality. And the visible reality is what you know because you see it.
Mm-hmm.
You see the clean room.
Mm-hmm.
You see the happy child with the clean room because he can get his Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
But the invisible reality is what doesn't happen. So we can never know what the alternative is. And the classic example of this in society is government is good because look at all the schools and all the hospitals and all the systems and all the education and all the help and all the services and government is good because we have all this. Yeah, we see that. But what about the things we don't see that don't exist for exactly the same reason that we have government?
Mm-hmm.
And people can't imagine life without government. They can't imagine it because they can only work with what they can see.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't have the mental capacity to close their eyes and imagine a world without something which has always been there because government is like the third parent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like closing your eyes and imagining life without your mother, right? It's almost impossible. It's always there, especially if you go to government school every day and every time you're sick, you visit a government doctor, and for everything else, you need a government paper, and so it's invasive and pervasive. It's in all areas of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the invisible reality is still very important because we don't see what happens because we don't know because it never exists. And with parenting, we use this argument, well, it works, and we always go with, well, it works, so that's good because it works, right? I'm strict with my children because it gets results.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, who the future is not written, so we don't know the long-term effects. We don't know if the stress that we give our children, even myself included, the stress I give my children today might be a problem for them when they're 25 or 30 years old because they repeat
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing with them in their lives, with their friends, with their relationships, in their jobs, in their families, and that might not be a great thing. Um, so it's a really difficult balance. I use incentive a lot in what I do. Um, Donkeys need carrots, I believe.
Yes, of course.
I be- the 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 incentives, but I'm not sure about the long-term picture of that because I don't think anyone can see that
Mm-hmm.
20 years down the line. We maybe have a good idea, but we can't know. Exactly. We don't know who's going to be the next great businessman or businesswoman. We don't know who's going to be the next great sports star or hero. We don't know we don't know which film is going to be the biggest selling film next year. We don't know which client is going to order the most products next year from us exactly. Maybe we have an idea, but we don't know 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, it's a difficult balance. I use incentive a lot, but so I'm not so stupid to think that I'm right.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't.
But what is better? Does exist something what works better?
Yes, but you don't know about it yet.
Mm.
The same way that we don't know about tomorrow yet. Look, there's always better, but better exists in the unknown.
Mm.
Because if we knew it was better, we would do it. And we only understand 1% of everything that's happening.
So we do our best, and
yeah, we do our best because nobody knows any other way to do anything, and there is nothing else. There's nothing else. There's nothing. There's no other reality, right? There's things we don't know in the future yet, but there's no other reality. Think about this. Here's a vital piece of understanding, which which is so powerful, and I use this with my kids. Right? I use it. It's the time machine principle. It's the time machine principle. We've all seen the science fiction films where people time travel,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and people go back in time, and everybody has this fear that there will be one thing that they change in the past, and the future will be completely different. Yeah, so just one thing, they don't meet a person, or they don't go somewhere, or they don't buy something, or they miss something, or they change one tiny little thing, and then they're not born, right? And
Yes.
it creates this
Mm-hmm.
crazy reality. So one thing, tiny little one thing can change everything. We understand that from the scientific time travel story principle. Now, imagine that in our present moment in time, we change one tiny little thing. Well, the future could be completely different. We don't know because we don't see the thousand things that don't happen. We only see the one thing that does happen. But we can change any tiny little thing around about us, and the future will never be the same as it would have been otherwise. And that's really powerful in terms of taking control of what is happening in our lives. Because if we can change one thing in the past that makes the present completely different, then we can change one thing in the present which makes the future anything that we want it to be. Um, in Queen's, relate this to music, in Queen's last real album, Innuendo, the title song, Innuendo. Now, the last album was a masterpiece of rock. Innuendo
Mm-hmm.
album is just it's a masterpiece of rock and madness at the same time. Because you've got great rock songs and you've got crazy songs like Delilah, which is Freddie Mercury singing about his cat. Okay, he's singing that he loves his cat,
Yes.
which is madness. Um, uh, but you've got the song Innuendo. Now, imagine that lyrics, the words are poetry. In the song Innuendo and the lyrics, somewhere hidden away in the middle, because it's one of those epic songs that goes up and down and goes all over. It's got operatic parts, and it's somewhere in the middle. There's a line: "You can be anything you want to be. Just turn yourself into anything you think that you can ever be." Hidden away in that song. No one ever thinks about
Mm-hmm.
it. No one ever recognizes it. You can be anything you want to be. Just turn yourself into anything you think that you can ever be. Be free with your tempo. Be free. Be free. Surrender your ego. Be free. Be free. That's
Mm-hmm.
so powerful. And it mirrors the idea that you can change any tiny little thing today, and anything can happen tomorrow. Maybe it's you buy a t-shirt, maybe you buy the football boots, maybe you buy a piece of jewelry that you like, maybe you visit somebody, maybe you call a friend, maybe you put on a film to watch, maybe you just sit and do nothing, and it changes everything. Nobody nobody really knows, but um, I for some reason I often come back to that song Innuendo by Queen. The
Mm-hmm.
indirect, the innuendo, the indirect suggestion.